Hello and welcome to another video from thefanpub.com. Today I've got Sean with me. You can get him on Twitter at thefanpub_stato. I'm at thefanpub_al.
And we've got our Facebook page as well, which is all about the Challengers League Live. We'll leave some links on these videos so you can find them. Please do have a look and do share them.
Okay, so today we're going to be doing the ultimate zero running back strategy.
Yep.
We're in a 12-team league. We've got pick 9, and without further ado, we'll get into it.
Yeah, we're going to plan. Our plan with this is we don't normally kind of have a set mindset when we go into drafts. We like to take the best player available personally, but for this video, we're just going to sell ourselves all out on getting the best wide receivers we can. So we're going to spend at least 4 rounds grabbing the best 4 that we think we can do. So what pick are we at?
Okay, so we're in round 1. We've got pick 9.
Okay.
The wide receivers available are AJ Green, Des Bryant, Allen Robinson, Jordy Nelson, Alshon Jeffrey.
Fantastic. All of them are fantastic value. Well, let's debate it out. Which one do you like? Let's think about this together as a team here. So we'll work together on this.
I think AJ Green and Des Bryant, they're both great for their team, but I'd just favour AJ Green just because of the injuries, problems to Romo and Bryant. So I'd probably just edge Green. Who would you?
I would agree with you. I think Green has had 200-point fantasy seasons twice, and he never gets less than 180. So there's consistency in Green's production that you could be comfortable around. So let's go that route.
I mean, he's clearly the number 1 receiver.
He doesn't have the number 2 there now in their areas. What, Brandon LaFell?
Yeah, and you got Tyler Boyd.
So it kind of seems that it's going to be the AJ Green show. So I'm very happy to take AJ Green.
Okay, so we're into round 2. We got pick 4.
So hopefully,
interestingly,
big upside player.
Des Bryant is still on the board.
That's actually probably too good value to pass up in a system.
I think in round 2 at pick 4, we're really happy with his strategy to lock in our second stud wide receiver.
Des Bryant, to be fair to him as well, I think we mentioned this in one of our previous podcasts. He's really back from his injury, so for his part, we're fairly confident he's going to deliver. It's really if Romo can stay healthy, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I watched Des Bryant live in the International Series at London, and to watch him play live, he towers above everybody. He was like men against boys, really. He looked
He's a class act, and let's be honest. Other than last year, he was terribly battling terrible injuries. Really, he's been so consistent. 12 or 13 touchdowns a year, 12, 13, 1,400 yards. How could you refuse him?
It's a no-brainer at this point.
We will take him happily. We've already got 2 now, feeling confident. Moving into round 3.
So in round 3, in this 12-man, we have pick 9. So again, we've got some pretty good players to look at: Brandon Cooks, T.Y. Hilton, Randall Cobb, Edelman, Macklin.
Well, that's 5 best fabulous wide receivers there. I'm going to use a little bit of presumptive knowledge, but I think T.Y. Hilton for me or Brandon Cooks would be the 2 that I would target.
Yeah, it's
personally.
definitely between them 2 for me.
I like T.Y. Hilton's opportunity this year with Andrew Luck coming back from injury. I just feel there's a tremendous upside here. This is our 3rd wide receiver. We can't really go too far wrong, I don't think. How do you feel there?
I mean, Cooks, he's often overhyped for me, but he's in a throwing offense. T.Y. Hilton's got a look back, so yeah, I agree with you. He's going to be a top player again, especially for the 3rd round.
And I think that with Indianapolis, they've got Dante Moncrief, who obviously is going to be like the legitimate number 2 this year. I think there. Do you agree that he will now rise to the number 2, really traditional number 2 role?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So that means that, and he is a good player for stretching the field. So I think T.Y. Hilton's opportunity to get more, not less.
So would you take him over Brandon Cooks?
I would, yeah. In this situation, we've already got 2 studs. We're not going to go far wrong. Even if we're slightly out, we're going to be pretty close. Okay. So very happy to have those 3.
So we're picking quite early again in round 4. We've got pick 4.
Yep.
So we're not touching a running back till at least round 5 with this strategy. So again, we've got Randall Cobb still on the board if we want to take a 4th wide receiver.
I think we should take a 4th wide receiver here.
You got Jay Ajayi, a running back who we don't really like with the news that
Foster might be back.
So we're not really liking the running back options anyway. Drew Brees, quarterback, tight end. You've still got Jordan Reed if you wanted to take.
Yeah, I still think we just keep it really simple. We've determined to keep taking wide receivers at least the first 4 rounds. Randall Cobb is very good value here. Jordy Nelson is back from injury. Randall Cobb will be over his knocks from last year. He's a professional. He played hurt, so fourth wide receiver can't go wrong really. Green Bay have an early bye week this year. This is excellent, quite frankly. It's a good player to have on the bench and then bring in when you need him. So I think this is really useful. And exactly for the same reasons we talked about before in the previous video, worth checking those comments out. Having that player gives you the flexibility of using him if you're going up against.
Yeah, and wide receiver are the fantasy currency this year, aren't they?
Yeah.
Everybody wants them. They're the trendy picks. If you're holding them, you've got
leverage.
You've got a little leverage and an ace up your sleeve.
Particularly if people have gone 0 RB, which we have. The one thing that there's going to be a lot of problems for is the other people who've gone running back heavy because they're going to need more wide receiver and you're holding the card. So it's a good one to trade with. So I'm happy. Randall Cobb, fourth wide receiver here, can't be bad, can it?
Okay, so we're in round 5 now. We've got pick 9. So running backs are now we entered into the equation in this ultimate zero running back video. We got J.J. We just said we don't like for the various.
Kind of going to hold off him for the moment and see what
Miami
happens.
aren't keen on him. They agreed to deal with C.J. Anderson. They got the link with Arian Foster that he's due to try out with them next week as we speak. So they're clearly not totally convinced by him. You got Ryan Matthews at Philadelphia, could be interesting.
Yeah.
Jeremy Hill at Cincinnati.
I think in this situation I would go with the old favourite here. I'd take Jeremy Hill purely for the touchdown value. It's our first running back on the board. It's not, none of this is perfect, but we just need somebody who can get us points.
I don't mind Ryan Matthews here. Either.
What would be your reasoning for Ryan Matthews? Why would you take him over, say,
Jeremy
Hill?
I think DeMarco Murray's gone. He's clearly the number 1 at Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I think he's steady. He obviously has injury worries. Hill's got Giovanni Bernard as well to share.
Yep, he does.
I mean, he's going to score less touchdowns, but I don't know. I just think
You think he might have more dual work, both as a running back and a wide receiver?
Yeah, he's going to be on the field more.
Well, I wouldn't mind either. I think both play. I'll quite happily. We're working together on this, so let's bend and.
And you never know. We pick early next round. We might fail as well. So
yeah, so we'll bend here and go with the Ryan Matthews pick as a first running back. There's no harm done. It's still going to produce points. We know that.
Jeremy Hill's the next man off the board.
Yeah.
That's the way these things happen. But
it is.
Are we looking at another running back here in round 6? We've got an early pick.
I think we have to take another running back because of what we've already previously done. So we've got to start scaling that way.
So we've got Matt Jones, Frank Gore, J.J. still there, Gio Bernard, Melvin Gordon, Duke Johnson.
There's quite a lot to like.
Drew Brees is still on the board, which is interesting in round 7.
I think that might be. There's so many running backs that we could believe that are going to fall into the next round there.
You got John Brown, he's still around.
You mentioned about 5 running backs there, and one quarterback that really stands out because Drew Brees had a fantastic. He was a top 5 quarterback last year again, often underrated. Let's take Drew Brees. He's just too good value, and then we'll come back for one of those running backs in the next round. We won't panic. We'll just take the best player available.
Okay, Brees a lock at round 6, pick 4, and now we're going into round 7 now.
So now we need to see one of those.
We've
guys
still got Frank Gore, Giovanni Bernard, Melvin Gordon on the board. So
okay, let's talk about those 3 and let's work out which one we fancy in this situation with this kind of draft. Who do you like best there?
Well, you got Frank Gore. I know you're not overly keen on him, but I think he's steady. I mean, Robert Turbin, the number 2, he's just been arrested for or charged with a marijuana.
Gore does give steadiness to a team that has a heavy wide receiver draft, so I can't knock Gore.
And we look back this year, they can't just they haven't got Hasselbeck back. Quarterback.
No, that's right.
So they can't.
You did mention Matt Jones. He would be quite an exciting pick to take.
Yeah, he's gone, unfortunately.
Has he?
Yeah,
right,
he went. So it's Frank Gore, Gio Bernard, Melvin Gordon, who had a tough rookie season.
Yeah.
But, maybe his value now. Duke Johnson, obviously, he's going to be climbing at draft boards with the Crowell news.
Yeah. No, I like the first one. I think we go with that.
You happy with Frank Gore?
I think we go Frank Gore. We go for steady running backs.
Especially when we load it up on quality wide receivers.
We're going to go with steady running backs over the flash and hope that will be consistent gold.
I mean, we were both looking at Frank Gore's stats over the years, and he has been pretty consistent.
Yes, yeah, he is.
Yeah, I know he's not getting any younger, but he has been pretty consistent. So.
He is. Yeah, we can't knock the consistency there.
Okay, so we're into round 8. We got pick 4. The sort of people it's offering us are Amir Abdullah.
Yep,
Duke Johnson's still there. Danny Woodhead.
they're all good.
Antonio Gates as a tight end.
Yep. I'm not.
John Brown is still there as well as a fifth.
I don't think we need a fifth wide receiver. I don't think that's going to offer us any value. There are running backs here that may not be around.
And we've sort of got to load our team with running backs now.
We've got to get some running backs on the board. Go through them one more time. Let's just consider.
So we've got Amir Abdullah.
Yeah, that's a consideration.
But they do run the ball less than any other NFL team.
It's a consideration. But he can also, to his credit, just so we weigh this up, he is a dual threat. He can catch as well as run.
Yeah,
and he did. Though he had fumbling issues the first 80 carries of his NFL career, he had 6. In the final 80, he only had 1. So they certainly had eradicated the problem, which is critical. So,
and he's got that explosive.
He can take the ball to the house, and we are going to need a player like that in a team like this.
And Duke Johnson was mainly in receiving role.
But I like his opportunities. Well, both these would be a great fit for our team as a third running back. And
Danny Woodhead's offered
a
top 10 running back, and he's obviously underrated quite a lot.
So I think any of those 3 I'd be happy to take. I'll let you have the final say. Which one do you like?
Well, which one would you take out of those? Because I chose Ryan Matthews. Why don't you?
I would take Amir Abdullah because I think that Detroit, although still not going to be a great team, are going to improve over what happened last year. I think they've got to. It's going to be more balanced.
Well, they can't fail to improve.
I think they didn't. They didn't give Amir Abdullah that many carries, which was a shame, and that might be down to fumbling issues. So I suspect what will happen is he'll get more chances this year, and I think it's good value at this point in the draft, particularly with the strategy we've got.
And we're looking for upside at this point, aren't we? So
yeah, I'll be happy with him there. All of those are quite good running backs for this draft strategy. So I'd be happy to take him.
Okay, running backs now. We're in round 9, pick 9.
Yep.
I mean, most of the good ones are gone now. You've got Crowell, who, he's got to be facing an uncertain future.
There's some risks hanging over him now. We need to keep loading our team up with quality. We can't afford to make mistakes.
I mean, he lost the support of a load of fans. I mean,
it wasn't smart. No. He put something out on Twitter. We won't go into it.
He did apologise, but
he apologised, but the damage is done, and I think that he's kind of lost the respect of some of the people.
And he is the sort of person that could really, pay. He could be hounded out of there if public opinion is so great that they give him no other choice.
So I think we have to avoid any risks because we still need to load our team.
Well, we've got Derrick Henry at Tennessee, Kenneth Dixon, Tevin Coleman, and Jordan Howard from Chicago.
All intriguing picks. Lotteries, but all interesting.
You've got Riddick, who's our handcuff, but he's really a pass catcher at Detroit.
Well, let's not lose sight of it. I mean, let's be fair, that is fabulous value at this depth of the draft. Those other rookies, some of them are still going to be there the next round if we choose to go that route. But Theo Riddick may not be because he's a pass catcher back. I think didn't he have the most pass catches for any running back last year, or certainly in the top 3?
I think he was certainly up there. Yeah, I think obviously.
So in that kind of team, I think he's going to get.
Danny Woodhead might have been top.
I mean, we already talked about Amir Abdullah. He is kind of a handcuff, but he is a little bit more than a handcuff. A bit like what we said in the previous video, where we talked about Doug Martin and Charles Sims. You can put both in a lineup, and both will produce points.
Okay, just interestingly,
I think Theo Riddick could do that.
Interestingly, Michael Crabtree's still there. He's quite a solid option at wide receiver. If we want to,
this is the one time.
And Antonio Gates is still there.
Yeah, I think this is the one time where I'd normally look at one of those running backs just to get my 4th running back on the board. But the value on Crabtree just screams out. It's too. He kind of floating under the radar too much. Have to take him.
He's a very unfashionable pick, but he's actually. He can back up.
He would offer this team the opportunity that you could offer Crabtree and something else for a player you're targeting, and that could be very, very useful.
And Crabtree again is very
could
solid,
end up being fabulous value.
He's very solid and he's very underrated because he's not a very fashionable pick. But okay, so we've locked him in. Obviously,
now we've got 5 wide receivers, 3 running backs, and a quarterback. Going to have to start thinking about another running back quite quickly.
Well, so we've got Gates at tight end if we want to touch him. Tevin Coleman still on the board. Theo Riddick still on the board. You've got CJ Prosise at Seattle. Derrick Henry at Tennessee. And Kenneth Dixon at Baltimore.
We have to think strategy with a team like this.
Actually, Arian Foster's still on the board. You've got to think he's probably going to find a team. Would you take it? It's a very interesting quandary. This. What would you?
I think this is very good because Foster is a number one running back if he plays. He's getting worked out by teams.
And for our team that's loaded with studs, is that a big upside? Or?
It's massive because even if he only played 2 or 3 weeks and got re-injured, the fact is he's going to produce RB1 numbers for those 3 or 4 weeks. You'd put him in the lineup every time he was
with
to
your
touch
stud wide receivers.
You would. I'd take him.
Yeah,
I'd take him here.
He's definitely worth
Even
it,
if I
especially
know,
with the news coming out that he's going to be trying out with a couple of teams.
Even if I know that he is, not going to start, I'm happy to hold on to him for a few weeks of the season just to see what shakes out.
I mean, Derrick Henry's not exciting.
We don't know what's going to happen. All we know is that they're not likely initially to kind of use Derrick Henry. Really, I think he could.
Murray's going to take
and I think he's kind of a dynasty pick, isn't he? Really, Henry. There's chances, but you wouldn't hold on to him for long.
They took him round 2 in the draft, so obviously they think a lot of him.
But, but do you see him shaking out this year? Or
I'd take Foster every time. In a redraft league, you've got to take Foster every time because the upside is there.
Obviously, in a dynasty, it's not that important. We wouldn't go anywhere near Foster. We'd probably fall even later because people only see this year value.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I do think in this situation, being a redraft, I would be happy to take him because I know I'd start him if at any point he plays. You would put him in.
Okay, so we're into round 11.
Another good team we've got here, really, Bill.
Yeah, we're very happy with how the team's going at the moment. It's still offering us Antonio Gates at tight end. Our running backs, Riddick's still there. So
fabulous value.
Kenneth Dixon's gone.
Yeah.
Sorry, he's still there as well. Tevin Coleman's gone.
Yeah.
So he might have been interesting. Paul Perkins at the Giants again in Dynasty.
I would keep it very simple. I mean, I think you'd have to take Theo Riddick.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think it's just again the value and the usefulness. I mean, if we ever end up in a situation, for example, say Detroit, we've already got Amir Abdullah. Let's say Detroit are playing a game where they're up against a stout defense. They're probably going to be chasing a game. It's a good player to put in.
Yeah, because they're going to be chasing the game a lot. I mean, he's great for the passing game. He is the pass catching running back there, you would think.
It's a really good, and he did really well last year, and very underrated.
And if you need to plug someone into your flex for the odd week, he's pretty solid in 7 or 8 points.
It's perfectly fine. I mean, I know it's not exciting, but sometimes when you already have an upside in one area of your team, what you've got to do is find consistency. He offers you that.
Yeah.
We've got flexibility. He's the kind of player you can add alongside Crabtree, theoretic to somebody, and target a player that's a second string player. They're getting 2 players, good value, and you're getting a player you need. I see that as real value there.
Especially in deeper leagues. But okay, so we're into round 12.
We've got to start thinking of that tight end now, I think, or at least consider it.
Okay, so the tight ends, we did lose Antonio Gates. Eric Ebron's there. Dwayne Allen, obviously Kobe Fleener's there.
That's pretty damn good.
Jason Witten's still there.
That's very good. Yeah.
You wouldn't want Austin Severin Jenkins. Running back, we've got Pro-Size, McKinnon, Perkins, Vereen.
Why wouldn't you take Dwayne Allen here? You got Luck coming back from injury.
Eli Manning's still on the board if you wanted a second quarterback.
Yeah, that's nice to have, but I don't think we necessarily need it.
We don't need any more wide receivers, do we?
And Drew Brees' bye week for this year, Alan, is...
Drew Brees' bye week is... Let me just check for you.
Because it's always important, I've said this in another video, where if it's early, you might consider a second quarterback. If not...
He's bye week's 5,
so we would consider a second quarterback at this point.
And Eli Manning...
That's good value here in the draft.
In the 12th round?
I'd say take it. I'd take Eli Manning.
Again, trade value alone. I mean, more so than Dwayne Allen.
But you've got to. It's targeting the right manager with any trade. I mean, for example, once we go past week 5, we've used our Eli Manning for that 1 week where we haven't got Drew Brees. You then can look at the owner who's got, for example, Odell Beckham Jr. Consider whether you could offer them the Eli Manning trade. They may well consider it.
Yeah, because they've got the stack then, haven't they?
They've got the stack, and this is the sort of things you have to do when you're talking about fantasy, is offer them something that's very difficult to refuse, and you're not asking for the world, but you're asking for enough that's going to help you.
And both quarterbacks perform a lot but at home. I mean, most quarterbacks do, to be fair, don't they? So
the kind of considerations
you can even stream them if you wanted to.
You could.
Both very usable.
But particularly in these smaller leagues, this 12-team league, you often do have some streaming opportunities. But I think what a lot of clever fantasy people do is they use a method I call the blocking method, which is they look at what's coming up a couple of weeks ahead, and if they think that you're likely to pick a player up, they'll block it, they'll take it, or defence, they'll block it, and they'll have it on their team rather than yours. So that's something that does happen.
It's a very good tip to use.
Another thing that I find quite good with this particular situation we're in is, what I like is because we would have Eli Manning, and we know who the Eli Manning, who the Odell Beckham Jr. owner would be theoretically. if you've already played them, it's the ideal time to offer the trade, if that makes sense, because you're putting pressure on other teams who are going to face this team after you.
Yeah, and
There's no harm in improving them if they're improving you, because you're doing double damage to everybody that faces you.
Maybe we can pick up we can swap them for a running back. Get
which is what we want.
A 2-for-1 trade. I mean, that is something you could.
So I think there's some mileage there. Happy to do it.
Okay, so we're in round 13, pick 9. Kenyon Drake, the rookie at Miami at the running back. DeAndre Washington, who's interested at Oakland.
Yeah.
Behind the Tavis Murray. Hightower, the backup to Ingram.
Yeah.
Who has injury issues.
Yep.
Wendell Smallwood would be our cuff for Ryan Matthews.
And that would make a lot of sense in a situation like that, to grab the cuff in a strange way. Although Wendell Smallwood, he'd be one of those deep sleepers. I think it's a great deep sleeper. I think he'll end up with the second string duties behind Ryan Matthews. And Ryan Matthews is not as if he's always healthy. He does have injury.
Well, far from it.
He has injury issues. So Wendell Smallwood would be a very sensible move when we're in a situation where we haven't got stud running backs and we kind of got to protect what we have and build on what we don't have. It would make sense to go down that route here at this point of the draft, I think.
So we're happy to lock in our cuff.
I would be happy to take the cuff here for us, particularly us.
But the other thing is we might be able to go another round. We could take there's some defences, Houston.
And we probably could give that some consideration early rather than wait on them.
I mean, because I think he might Wendell's. I don't think other people are going to be interested for another round. I think we could go another round, and there's 5 or 6 ADP running backs above him, so we could
let's go with the hunch.
I mean, this might backfire, but
okay. Well, let's see whichever running backs were there, so we could target one of those now as well.
Well, we've got DeAndre Washington, obviously, Kenyon Drake, and then both rookies. Hightower back up to Ingram. I mean,
interesting. Yeah.
Ingram's always injured. Zazen is
and Hightower does have some NFL history, and he has.
We wouldn't want a third Detroit running back. James White, who it could be interesting. I mean, he came in and did the pass catching role last season.
He is an interesting player. I mean, it's a really difficult one, this, because none of them are particularly like you'd be excited about them, but all of them are important if you're balancing out your fantasy there. Who would be your preferred one at the top of that list? I still think Wendell Smallwood is worth targeting, but you believe we can get another round, which is true. I think Alan's right.
I think we can get another round, yeah. So
I'd
probably take the Houston Texans, probably.
Okay, let's take the Houston Texans. We're going really here, if I take them, we're taking what we consider to be a top defence here, aren't we, really? Because we're sort of saying we're going for defence a little bit early.
Or we can, I mean, Eric Ebron at tight end's another interesting option.
It's a quandary, this one.
Yeah.
I think we haven't got the tight end, so we've got to consider it. Ebron does have some upside this year. A lot of people like his situation.
Megatron's gone, isn't he? So
Megatron's gone. They've got to spread the ball.
Third year, is he?
Third year. There's a lot to like this year, and also they're going to have to spread the ball out a bit. Yeah, let's go with Eric Ebron. It's sensible. Gives us another round. There's a bit of a risk involved. I think you're right. I think Wendell Smallwood will be there another round.
Yeah, so he's in the back of our mind. I mean,
so let's see how that shakes out.
So the Houston Texans and the Rams are off the board. Pittsburgh defense. A lot of defense is going now in between our picks.
You can understand that. We may have to sit back and take a gamble.
Well, okay. So no running backs went off the board, I don't think. So Kenyon Drake's still the top one available.
Yeah.
Defenses we got.
Well, we don't like.
We got the Chiefs, the Bills.
We don't like Kenyon Drake because of 2 bits of news. Really, the first one is injured, and secondly, we know that Arian Foster is trying out for them. So as we're assuming we're drafting before anything locks, we're having to go on the information we have. So I think we'll avoid Kenyon Drake. We don't want a dud before we start, really.
I mean, there's still 4 running backs ADP wise above Wendell Smallwood. So I think we could take a gamble on a defence.
Go for it. Who's the best available? What have we got?
Patriots, Bills, the Chiefs, or the Bengals.
Well, not being horrible, we talked about this in the previous podcast. I think I'd take the Patriots because those first 4 weeks of the season, that defence is going to be used more while Tom Brady is out, and I think that they are literally going to have to help carry that team to some wins.
What about the Chiefs? They're pretty.
Chiefs are fantastic, but are they? Yeah, I mean, I suppose what you could say is if we take the Chiefs again, are they going to be up in the top few? Yes, they're going to be in the top sort of 7 or 8. I agree with that.
I'm going to give you the pick. You make a pick.
As you've put them in, I'll go with Kansas then. I'll take the Kansas D because you are right. They are in the top sort of 8. They have the potential to improve even further still, and they really came on in the second half of last year. So if I'm looking for upside defences, this has got to be one that's worth taking. So yeah, I'll take that.
Okay, so we're going to lock them in. We're going into
hope that Kendall is still out there. Wendell, sorry, Kendall.
I think it's
I've
Wendell.
got Kendall the brain now. Kendall Egg, there you go. Wendell Smallwood. All right, is he available?
Okay, we're just going through just the people coming off the board. Kenyon Drake's gone.
Mm-hmm.
The Bills are gone. The Bengals are gone.
Yep.
New England are gone.
So with the right move to take that defence.
There's a few kickers going now.
That's a bit early. Is it? How many more bench spots have we got to fill?
Wendell Smallwood is still there.
Fabulous. I think we can't afford to wait too much longer, so I think we have to grab him at this point. Do you agree?
I think we do, yeah, definitely. I mean,
as the other two guys have gone, it's only a matter of time before the ADP catches up with them and somebody nabs them anyway.
Okay, so basically that was our last bench spot. We just
Right,
got to
and then we're just a kicker. We'll just look for the best player available and hope that there's somebody
McManus, Walsh, Santos.
Well, there's a good one here. We talked about why Brandon McManus in the other video would be a good pick. I would normally take him, but there is one player that kind of he just happens to be there. Is worth it. Santos for Kansas City. Funny enough. I don't always like having my defence and my kicker on the same bye because you have to replace them both. So, if I'm being honest, if it wasn't for our defence, I would take Santos. But because we've got that defence, I'll take Brandon McManus.
Okay, so McManus is a lot.
Yeah.
So we're just going to briefly go through our team. See if you think the strategy's good. I mean, see if you like the team. So we've got Drew Brees and we've got Eli Manning at quarterback. Our running backs are Ryan Matthews, Frank Gore, Amir Abdullah, Arian Foster, Theo Riddick, and Wendell Smallwood. We've locked in our studs at wide receiver, AJ Green and Des Bryant, T.Y. Hilton, Randall Cobb, Michael Crabtree.
You build a good team around that.
So you just want to summarise, were you happy with that team?
Very happy. I mean, you'd be looking to play Drew Brees every week where you can. You'd put AJ Green, Des Bryant and T.Y. Hilton in every week. Probably T.Y. Hilton in the flex until you need to make a change. If we look at the running backs, we'd start off with Ryan Matthews playing, and the other running back we had that was
It's Frank Gore.
Frank Gore. Those two would be your steady eddies, if you like, two steady producers. But underneath them, we've got a couple of players that we can see how they bubble up to the surface. I like the kicker.
So if Arian Foster's got a team and he's
If
fit
Arian
week
Foster's,
one,
if Arian Foster gets a team, and it's likely that he's going to start because that's why you would pick him up, you play him.
because
You
he's
just play him.
goal when you play him.
And what you would do is you'd probably take Ryan Matthews out and put Arian Foster in alongside Frank Gore, depending on matchup. But it will depend on matchup for those two guys. If they have a favourable matchup, particularly if it looks like Indianapolis Colts are likely to blow someone out, then they're likely to lean on the running game quite a lot. So that's what you'd look for, those kind of matchups. So that looks really good. Defense is strong. The kicker's strong. The only thing you might want to consider, the tight end is okay, serviceable, Ebron. He's not exciting. It's not a top 5. He has potential to be, but it'll probably shake out. He's in the pack of average.
Yeah, but our team weighted that way.
Yeah, it is. So, but you'd be happy with that. That's a serviceable team, and you could lock up against people because you've got to think your primary wide receivers. It wouldn't be unrealistic to think that both AJ Green and Des Bryant are capable of 15-point weeks on any given Sunday.
And
They could
T.Y.
easily
Hilton,
do that.
really.
T.Y. Hilton could do that. So there's 45 fantasy points. If Drew Brees gets you 15 points
You
or
got
more,
You got Cobb and Crabtree are very steady.
you
in
know,
behind.
you could be sitting with 60 plus fantasy points conservatively with 4 players without the running
You've got
backs.
Drew Brees and Manning.
So there's a lot to like in that team, when you're talking about consistent production. So you can see why people do this quite a lot.
Okay, well, thanks, Sean. This has been the fanpub.com ultimate zero running back strategy. If you're still watching, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel. We've got plenty more strategy video and other comments coming out, and thanks for watching.
Thank you. Take care of yourselves.